one of the negotiations with a supplier, we had closed and agreed to, that's what I thought, almost every point which was there on the table. As I was about to extend my hand for the handshake, the supplier threw a surprise. He mentioned that he needs to discuss this deal with his boss and take his approval. He was the general manager sales in his company, and I assumed that he had enough powers to close the deal. And I was wrong in making that assumption. So, welcome back to your channel, The Art of Negotiation. I'm your host Ashish Mehndiratta. In one of the previous episodes, we covered the 5 steps of negotiation process. Thereafter, we covered each step in detail in different videos, the links of which are given in the description box. Today, we are going to explore the 5th step of the negotiation process, which is closing the deal effectively. Please subscribe to our channel if you have not done it so far, because it motivates us to bring out more interesting and insightful content for you. Closing a deal in negotiation is a culmination of strategic moves, persuasive communication, give and take, problem solving to arrive at win-win agreement. However, it is not very uncommon to have the negotiation getting prolonged or getting stuck at the closure stage. In other cases, the deals are closed under pressure, such as the deadline pressure or the pressure tactic by the other party to walk away, leading to less than desired outcomes. The key questions that any negotiator has on closing the deal effectively are: what is the right time to close the deal? How to prevent the negotiation from getting prolonged? How to steer the negotiation towards closure? And how to say no and walk away. Let's try to understand these questions one by one. Question number 1. How do you know whether it is the right time to close the deal? It goes back to your preparation step that involved documenting your negotiation objectives, your BATNA and ZOPA. If you're not aware of these terms, I would suggest you to pause here and watch the videos on BATNA and ZOPA in our channel. Before you walk into negotiation, you should be very clear in terms of what is it you want to achieve and what your best alternative is in case the agreement is not reached. This will help you to evaluate to what extent you have achieved your objectives and whether you are better than your best alternative or not. If you find that your objectives are within ZOPA and there are no unresolved issues from both sides and the other party is not willing to concede further, then it is the right time to bring the negotiation to closure. Notice the body language and the clues from the other party. For example, if they show urgency or they express satisfaction, then they might be signaling that they are ready for closure. Else, you may ask a hypothetical question to test their readiness for closure. For example, you may ask, what if this particular issue is closed? Do you think we will have a deal? So by thorough preparation and consistent evaluation during the negotiation process, you may be able to nail down the right time for closing the deal. Question number 2. How to prevent the negotiation from getting prolonged? Sometimes prolonging the negotiation has the risk of the other party reopening the agreements or asking for more concessions. They may use delay tactics to put you under deadline pressure. Therefore, hitting the nail and sealing the deal at the right time is very important. One of the ways to prevent this is to be upfront about the timeline for reaching the agreement. At the beginning of the negotiation itself, you should communicate the deadline for the closure and alert them before the deadline is reached so that they are mentally tuned. Any deliberate attempt to delay should be called out with a warning that it could lead to you walking away from the negotiation. Question number 3. How to steer the negotiation towards closure? Number one, ensure that you are dealing with the decision maker and not an intermediary. This should be identified at the preparation stage as part of gathering supplier intelligence. Number two, drop a hint by asking a question. Is there anything else to be discussed or any unresolved issue? By asking this question, you are giving the impression that you are working towards wrapping everything up, while at the same time you are demonstrating your willingness and flexibility to discuss any unresolved issues. Number three, stop giving any more concessions. When the other party realizes that they are not going to get anything by prolonging the negotiation, they will also look for the closure. Number four, offer one last concession on the condition of closing the deal. If that one concession does not cost you a lot and it helps to make the other party feel that they got something valuable in return, they will surely reciprocate your offer by closing the deal. However, if the other party uses this opportunity to ask for more concessions, then you may indicate to them that it could lead to rolling back all the previous concessions and agreements. Number five, ring fence the issues holding up the closure. Sometimes the focus is lost when there are too many issues are being discussed at the same time. It is important to isolate the issues where the parties have major differences and focus on resolving those issues one by one. Number six, summarize what you have already agreed upon. This is another signal that the negotiation is near closure. While summarizing, frame the agreements in a manner that the other party recognizes what is in it for them and how are they going to benefit. Make the deal feel like win-win. For instance, the seller may convey that they have agreed for a 10% lower price as compared to the initial offer. So these positive statements from the other side's perspective may motivate them to close the deal faster. Number seven, pose as if the deal is already final and start discussing about the next steps for signing and implementing the contract. So this will also give them a signal that you are now looking towards the closure of the deal. Number eight, add urgency trigger. For example, you may make offer or counter offer subject to closing the deal by a certain timeline. Many sellers use this tactic of offering time-bound discounts and promotions. Number nine, give ultimatum and walk away. You may reach a point where it feels all the options have been exhausted. And if there seems to be no end in sight, you may have to give a bottom line. Either there is a compromise or you will respectfully walk away from the process. By making this point clear, you may be able to refocus the negotiation on the task at hand. So, by using some of these techniques, you will be able to nudge the other party towards the early closure of the deal. Question number four, how to say no and walk away from the deal. Sometimes it is better to say no than to have a suboptimal deal. Some negotiators do not exercise this option because they consider this as their personal defeat. However, there is a way to say no without burning bridges with the other party. Number one, walk away from the deal and not from the other party. Don't just abruptly walk away without a proper closure. Number two, acknowledge that there are certain issues on the table on which the agreements could not be reached. Summarize your position and the position of the other party on those specific issues. Number three, do not allow your ego come your way. Maintain neutral tone of speech and body language. Do not blame the other party for the deal falling through. Number four, agree to disagree as both parties may have better alternative and no ZOPA. Number 5. Close it on a positive note by thanking them for their time and their involvement in the discussion. Bring out some of the positive aspects of the negotiation that you may have observed. For example, you may appreciate that through this negotiation, you could actually appreciate the other party's interests and concerns. Number 6, extend the offer to invite them again whenever the next opportunity of the negotiation arises. So, by staying calm and positive when saying no, helps you to safeguard your interest as well as maintain a positive relationship with the other party. To summarize, closing the deal in negotiation is a complex and a dynamic task that depends on various factors such as your objectives and alternatives, the other party's interests and concerns, the relationship and trust, and the negotiation process. So next time when you are closing the deal, try some of these techniques to close the deal on the favorable terms and at the right time. Hope you found this video useful. Keep our motivation high by liking the video and subscribing to our channel. Until next time, happy negotiating.